All right, Parker, we are finally here, finally getting going on this. But welcome everybody to the Loose and Groovy Baseball Show. This is our first episode. Finally came into fruition. Finally got it all set up, and we are both very excited to get this thing going.
Absolutely.
So my name is Travis. I'm one of the hosts, and then my co-host is Parker, who's right next to me right now.
Yeah. So just to kind of give intro on me, my name is Parker. I am from the east side of Michigan. It's a county, Macomb County. I'm like 50 miles away from Detroit. And similar to Travis, I go to Grand Valley State University right now, and I major in finance.
Awesome. Yep, I'm Travis, as I introduced already. I'm from Northern Illinois. It's about an hour north of Chicago. So I also go to Grand Valley. So that's how we met, actually. We are both sophomores here, but we met our freshman year last year. Parker is actually probably a big reason why I'm even into baseball right now. So I definitely think I owe that to him. But yeah, I'm a White Sox fan. Parker is a Tigers fan, as you can probably tell from apparel and such. But yeah, this is pretty much just going to be. I mean, me and him both love to talk about baseball in general. We text each other, talk to each other when we see each other. It's usually all surrounding baseball for the most part. So the natural tendency there was for us to just kind of start a podcast so we could do it more. So it's going to be pretty laid back. I think just general conversation about what's going on. We're going to try, I think, at least do once a week for episodes. It might be more than that some weeks, but I think for the most part, definitely expect one a week. That's going to be our goal. And yeah, we're just going to sit down, enjoy some good conversation, have some good laughs, and learn as we go. So we hope you guys are going to stick along for the ride. And yeah, we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah, so pretty much just
Um,
going to be yapping about baseball. Anybody wants to come along for the ride is welcome. I'll throw something in there. Judging by the teams that we are following, we are accepting sympathy cards. You can mail them to Green Valley.
yeah, what is it? 43110 Ravine Center
Yeah,
Drive.
you can,
Building number,
you
room
can mail those
number.
to us.
All
Yeah,
right. Well, yeah, Tigers will actually be one of our topics of discussion today. At least, I mean, I didn't realize how close they were. They're a little closer than I thought they were.
yeah, you know how it is.
But yeah. So for today's episode, generally speaking, we're going to open each episode with this day in MLB history and then game of the week. So we're going to start with those two, and then later in the episode, we're going to do some wild card divisional outlook for the playoffs. A lot of close races right now, so we're going to dive into all that juicy stuff, and then we're going to do. It's pretty much a draft, so we're going to draft a team. We said nine fielding starters, so catcher
Mhm.
through like right field, I guess. And then we've got a full starting rotation, so five starting pitchers. And the only caveat is they had to be 25 or younger. And then it's just going to be like I guess a snake draft, but it's going to be like I'll pick and then Parker picks, and then we'll go back
Yeah.
and forth. So without further ado, we're going to start off with this day in MLB history. And the way we're going to do this is so the day we're filming this is August 28th. And this week I got two things that happened on this day in baseball history. I'm going to read them off, and we're going to have Parker see if he can guess which player I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
are you ready for this?
Yeah. And just to
All
let
right.
everybody know, we have no idea what the other person is going to say this entire podcast. This is just raw reaction that you guys are going to get. So I have no idea what he's going to say right now. So,
Perfect. All right. So August 28th, 1921, over 100 years ago for this one. Um,
jeez.
but it's an easy one. I don't overthink this one.
Okay.
So this player on August 28th, 1921 starts a record streak in which he gets at least one extra base hit in 9 straight games. If you need a hint, I can give you one, but we'll see if you can get it.
1921. Extra base hit in 9 straight games.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, geez. I'm thinking of like a bunch of players, but I'm not 100% on what decade they all played in.
Yeah, that's
Let's
fair.
see.
Do you want me
I have
to?
an
I can
idea.
give you
I'm guessing it's a
what
guy that's like a pure hitter that is like known for his hitting.
I would say. You're right.
Is that like 100? Like, okay, okay.
I mean, I don't know which way you're going with that, but he is, I would say, considered one of the best hitters of all time. I'll give you
Okay,
that.
okay. I'm gonna go with the. Okay, can I ask this? Is he known for his power, or is it mostly contact?
I would say both, but mostly power, for sure.
Okay, I was gonna say Ty Cobb, so that's 100% not Ty Cobb then.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Okay, I'll ask this. Did he play for the Yankees in his career at all? Because yeah, I need that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So I guess you could actually, I could see you bouncing back and forth between two right here
Yeah, I
with
think you
that
know who I'm
information.
thinking of. So yeah, I'm between Ruth and Mantle. I'm gonna
Okay.
go.
Wait. Well. Okay. Do you know when Mickey Mantle played?
I guess that might be the problem here.
Okay. Yeah. So like they played in
That was
completely
later.
different.
That was way later, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like a lot, like 40 years after this. So.
Yeah. So that was okay. Yeah, I'll just say Babe Ruth.
Yeah, you're correct. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
We kind of
I
gave you
I
that
should
one,
have just
but
started with that, but I didn't want to. Okay, keep going.
yeah, Mickey Mantle I think was in the 50s or 60s. So
Yeah, I
I
get a
yeah,
little
good
hazy
good
before
job.
like the 80s, but
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so we got one more then. August 28th, 1990. I think this one's a little trickier.
okay.
But this player homers in the Cubs 5-2 win over the Astros to become the first second baseman ever to post back-to-back 30 home run seasons.
Sandberg.
Yes, yes, Ryan Sandberg.
There we
Back-to-back
go.
30 home run
Hey.
seasons. That was a good one. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, that was good. That was all well more significant ones that happened on this day in MLB history. All right, so
Perfect.
leading into that, we're gonna go into game of the week. So pretty much how this is gonna go is me and Parker both picked a game that we heard about, we watched, whatever,
Yeah.
like over this past week. So I guess since August 21st. Do you want to lead us off?
Yeah. I'll start us off.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. So first of all, I do want to give a shout out. This isn't the game that I'm picking, but the Rockies Marlins game. The Marlins were down in the ninth inning by I think it was 4 runs, and they ended up scoring five. I think was this yesterday,
I think it
Tuesday.
was last night. Yeah, yeah, it was
Last
last
night.
night.
Yeah,
I saw this. Yeah.
yeah. So they were down 8-4, and then the Marlins scored five in the top of the ninth and ended up winning. But that was just a shout out because that's an awesome game. But obviously, those teams are
Mhm.
both like 40 games under 500, so we'll stay
Yeah.
away from that. My game of the week, I chose the Mets versus Padres game. This was this past
That
Sunday.
was such a good series, dude. That
Yeah,
was such a good series.
yeah. So I picked that one. And well, just looking at the box score, you would be like, why would he pick this? Because it's just the starting pitching matchup was not great at all. It wasn't bad. It was just two veteran left-handed pitchers in Martin Perez and Jose Quintana. So just kind of journeymen that just have just been traded away and found a new team every year. But Quintana dealt. He had 6.1 innings and he gave up 4 hits and two walks with no earned runs. Perez looks solid, but not nearly as good as Quintana. 4 hits and 3 walks, so kind of lots of traffic on the bases, but he only ended up giving up 1 run. But that's not. This is like kind of where it starts to get into the good stuff. So I just like where all the offensive production came from in this series. So first of all, JD Martinez got the scoring started off for the Mets in the fourth inning. He had a home run. Just a guy that's been on a couple different teams, and every team it seems like he can produce, even if he's
Oh yeah.
65
Mhm.
years old. Um,
He's yeah.
and
I'll add my stuff after you're done giving
okay,
the summary. But yeah.
and then Mark Vientos put them up 2-0 with another solo shot in the seventh. I think his story is kind of cool because the past 2 years he's been struggling like crazy. People just I don't know they started to doubt him. He was a second round pick, but yeah, he's been turning it around big time this year with I believe a mid 800s OPS, maybe a low 800s. So that was cool to see. But then the Padres started to battle back with Profar, who's kind of similar to Viennos, but
Hey,
um,
jerk. Hey.
yeah, different. He was a highly touted prospect. One of the he might have been a top prospect like in all baseball at one point. And he's just I don't know. He's never lived up to the expectations. So it's been kind of sad, like throughout his career. He hasn't been bad. Like some guys don't make it at all to the majors. He's had some
Right.
success, but this year he's starting to really turn it around. So he had a 2-run shot to tie it in the eighth inning. So that was pretty cool to see his career high 21st home run. And
That's
then in the
awesome.
ninth inning, Jackson Merrill hit the walk-off home run. And if you're a fan of baseball, even if you consider yourself just a casual fan, you'll know that he's been on an absolute tear, especially since the All-Star break. So that was just watching that was electric. So that was a walk-off. So they ended up winning 3-2, and yeah, overall just a great game.
Did you see the stat that came out about Jackson Merrill in the ninth inning?
I did not. What is it? Let's hear it.
So I don't remember the specific numbers, but in like 23 plate appearances in the ninth inning, I think he's 11 for 23, a couple homers, lots of RBIs, like, and a guy that's so young, the clutch factor is already there, which is
Yeah,
insane. Like he feeds off that San Diego entry so well, and it makes it so fun to watch him play. But it was insane. I think it was after he hit that home run where it's like, oh my gosh, he's hitting again in the ninth inning, like so clutch. I also want to talk about Jose Quintana. I know he struggled a bit at the start of the season, but he's been picking it up. Him and Luis Severino,
yeah,
they've both been not dealing, but they're doing enough to like put this Mets team in positions to win, and the
yeah.
talent is there. So it's been good to see him put in some quality starts for sure, because he's another guy that I think they were hoping just could at least be like a high threes, low fours guy that can just
Mhm.
eat some innings for him. So that was good too. Yeah, that was a really fun series. And that was an important series for both teams. I think they're
Oh yeah,
both Mets. I know are in wild card right now, and then Padres still have a chance at the West if the Dodgers slow down.
yeah.
So yeah,
Both
that was definitely a big
left-handed.
one.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Anything else to add on that one?
Not really. It's all you. Let's hear it.
All right, so I already showed Parker which game I picked, and this was one I actually flipped on. I think MLB TV had a free weekend this week, so I threw this one on. So the pitching matchup for this one was Kershaw and Taj Bradley. A pretty, star-studded pitching matchup, I would say. But these guys actually both struggled quite a bit. Kershaw, his line was 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 5 Ks. Taj Bradley went 6 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned, and 5 Ks. So neither of them really had their best stuff tonight. But I just want to say, like, this was the first game I had watched Taj Bradley pitch, and I even texted you afterwards, just because it was so fun to watch that ball come out of his arm, man. I
Mhm.
couldn't get over it, even without his best stuff. I mean, it was electric to watch him. I love his heat. I love his off speed. It is so fun to watch him pitch, even though he did struggle a bit and he didn't have his best stuff. But he's under a 4 ERA this season. I was surprised he still went 6 innings after letting up 5, which was also pretty impressive to me. So yeah, that was my little Taj Bradley blit. But he's I fun watch. I definitely want to keep up with him in the future. All right, but getting into the game, the Rays ended up winning this game 9-8 in extras. The entire series between Rays Dodgers was really fun to watch and to just keep up with. The Rays made it competitive in just about every game. I don't actually know who ended up winning this series, but a lot of good games here. This is the one I decided to pick though. So the Rays actually touched up Kershaw for 4 in the first. So Kershaw had a great like back half of his outing to actually save some of the bullpen. But yeah, they went up 4 in the top of the first very quickly. And then the Dodgers come back in the fourth to put up 3 runs. Two of these came off a Teoscar Hernandez home run. That was also after a Mookie Betts slide in the third got overturned. He was originally called out, but then they overturned it. It kind of flipped the momentum, I would say. That was a huge home run from Hernandez. He was getting really hype, and that was cool to see. The Rays add 1 in the fifth, and then the Dodgers follow it with 3 more runs, 2 of them coming off Otani's 41st home run in this season. This is the home run that I sent you with that splitter that he pulled the right field.
Yeah, insane.
I I
Just
I watched it live. I couldn't believe it. It was outside the zone. You know, he's a lefty, so on the left side of the box, and it's like 92 miles per hour, and he pulls it to the left foul pole. I could not believe it. Out
it's
in front of it, everything so
yeah.
strong. And this is coming off the night before where he had the grand slam to get 40-40.
Hmm.
So just other earthly things from Otani right now, which is what we're accustomed to seeing. So after that, it was 6-5. Miguel Rojas added one more with a solo home run in the seventh. That was his fourth on the year. Yandy Diaz hits a sac fly in the eighth, brings it within one. And then there was also a scenario with Kopech on the mound. Reyes had bases loaded with no outs, only able to scratch one more across on a sacrifice fly. So now they're down one, and this is where Junior Caminero comes up. He hits a game-tying home run with a full count in the top of the ninth. He's somebody I'm going to talk about a little later too. That ties it up. That was a dead center home run too. I don't know the distance on it, but I'm sure it
Mhm.
was roped. And then we're in extras, top of the 10th. Jose Cabrillo hits his ninth home run of the year. That was a two-run shot, and then the Dodgers cannot follow it up. Um, so yeah, that ended up being a 9-8 win for the Rays. Yeah, so I want to highlight Cameron Arrow. He went 3 for 5 with a home run. That was his second of the year. Also had two RBIs. Another guy that just got called up from the Rays. Top five prospect, probably across any list you would see. Super fun watch. Super like just young and talented. Good power, good defense. I'm excited to watch him kind of play the rest of this year and into next season, especially with the situation in Ronda Franco with the Rays. It's nice to see some infield help in Cameron Arrow come up, and he's going to be good for a long time, I think.
Oh
And then
yeah.
Otani, like I said, 2 for 4 with a home run, two RBIs, 41st home run of the year. He's hunting for 50-50. We're going to see if he gets there. But yeah, he's also been on a hot streak along with so many other players. So yeah, that was a really fun game to watch and keep up with. Anything to add?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I got a couple things. So first of all, while you were talking, I was looking up this because I remember Taj Bradley had that insane stretch this year, and honestly, for a stretch more than like 5 starts, like some guys can like go off for 5 starts. Like Blake Snell, he had a 5 starts where he was like insane, and he's
Mm-hmm.
probably the other one that would be competing for Bradley for this best like stretch. But starting June 8th, Bradley had 8 starts where his ERA was .92 through those 8 starts, striking out. I think it was like 13 per nine, or it was just insane numbers. WHIP was
Mm-hmm.
like absolutely minuscule, like point 0.6, point 0.7, just
Wow.
insane stuff. And I watched a couple of his starts, like briefly, like a couple innings, just to see like what all the hype was about. Because I saw the numbers, and the numbers definitely didn't lie, but his stuff is absolutely nasty. Getting into Otani, kind of like what you were saying with that splitter, you look at some of these like home run hitters, and they'll just run into like these change ups that were just hung right down the middle, or like these
Yeah.
fastballs that just caught the entire plate. Watching Otani, some of the home runs he hits on these pitches are absolutely insane. I was thinking, do you remember when he hit a home run off Skeens?
He
It was
did. I
earlier.
never saw that actually.
It was a while ago. It was, let me see, uh, I think June 6th.
Okay. So that was probably right after Skeens got called up. Then no.
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, it might have been like his third start or something, third or fourth start. But
Okay.
it was a triple. It might have been. It was 100 or 101 fastball painted. Otani sent it to the moon, and all Skeens did was really laugh because I mean you can't really do
Sometimes
much.
that's all you
Yeah,
can do. Yeah.
yeah. So that was
Wow.
just awesome. But yeah, overall, yeah, Otani's gonna be the first DH to win the MVP too. By the way, I don't think that's any
Yes, he
secret. But
will be. I know we've talked about this, but Francisco Lindor and like his season he's having. I know we
mhm,
had a little conversation about WAR and everything and how
yeah,
his defense plays a factor into that and all that. But I heard somebody say like the MVP is like an offensive award. So even though Lindor is playing the field and still being a very productive hitter,
mhm,
it's not really going to matter because Otani is just another worldly hitter right now.
yeah.
So a little unfortunate that Lindor isn't going to get as much recognition, especially because it wasn't even an All Star this season.
That is what
Um,
that kind of makes me mad. That should make any baseball fan mad because that's insane that he didn't make the All Star.
right, yeah, it does suck, but I think he'll get his roses coming.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are starting to pick up on it, especially now that he's gone 25-25. And I mean, he's been so hot the second half. So
Mhm.
especially if the Mets stay in playoff contention, and actually make it, you could definitely see his name pop up a lot more. I would
Oh
think.
yeah, 100%.
So yeah. I don't have anything else if you're ready to move on into our playoff outlook.
Yep, I think we're good.
All right, so I'm going to be covering the NL. Parker's going to grab the AL. Do you have a preference about going first, or you want to just kind of?
Um, yeah, I can go first with the AL, but just kind of
All
to
right.
let you guys know, as we like run through the teams, the other person is gonna just be like kind of looking through like trends and like have they been doing good in the past whatever games, run differential, just kind of stats like that, just kind of tell more of the story than their full record. But yeah, I'll start with AL right now. Let's see. Okay, so
AL
first of
is
all,
so interesting. I love the AL is such a like so many good
mhm,
races right now.
yeah, especially divisional races. You don't have as many really any good divisional races in the NL, but we'll get into that. There's a couple, but so AL East, we got the Yankees in first place. So we got Baltimore a game behind. We got the Red Sox 4 games behind, and then the Rays and the Jays 6 and 8 games behind. So they're no, sorry, that was this is I'm looking at wild card games back. Spare me, sorry. Yankees first place, Orioles game behind, Red Sox 9.5, and then it kind of drops off to 11.5 and 13.5 with the Rays and the Jays. And keep in mind, this is as of Wednesday, August 28th. So if anybody hears this like 3 days later, these are obviously going to change.
Yep.
Um, yeah.
I
So
will. Let's go by division for
yeah,
now. I think it's so interesting because these two teams I feel like are almost standing on like one leg at this point.
yeah,
What concerns me about the Orioles is the pitching. Corbin has not been good his past couple
no,
starts, really struggling. And then you have Grayson Rodriguez on the IL. You have Kyle Bradish on the IL. Felix Bautista's still gone. The
hmm
bullpen's weak. The rotation's weak. Who they just optioned Tanner Scott, right? Didn't they do that too? The guy they just traded for
Tyler Rogers or not?
Tyler Rogers,
Trevor Rogers. Trevor, sorry, yeah, from the
Trevor,
Marlins.
yeah, Trevor Rogers, yeah. And I think the offensive production is always going to be there. It's more if the pitching is going to handle with the offense and keep them in games.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, when you look at the Yankees, it's like, okay, you've got Aaron Judge who's hitting Aaron Judge and Soto. That's you can just call them the Aaron Judge and Juan Soto team right now
Yeah,
because that's all that they're getting offensively. Maybe Austin Wells too at catcher. He's been having a good season as well.
yeah,
Especially for a guy so young and playing catcher, it's impressive. But at the end of the day, it's these two guys and Judge could keep hitting like Judge and so can Soto, but I get worried for these little in between games where Judge isn't hitting 2 home runs or Soto and Judge aren't going back to back. What does that look like for this team? And we've seen stretches where, they're not being very competitive at all because the rest of the team is not a good supporting cast. So the talent I think is there, but there's like these weak points that I feel like can collapse at any second on both these teams, which
yeah,
makes it so interesting that they're so close for this division race. Because I think either one of them, they're both going to make the playoffs. It's just a matter of who is going to win the division and then who's going to be in the wild card. So yeah, just some notes on that.
yeah.
But if you have
I'll
anything
throw
else to add,
more in on top of what you said. Kind of like what you said. They're both standing on one leg. Yeah, they've definitely both had their stretches, their hot stretches. The Yankees had the best record for a long time. Um, yeah, they have also scared me a lot in different aspects. Like you said, Baltimore. I'll say one thing: they could really use Felix Bautista right now. Sorry, not Jose. Felix
hmm
Bautista. He was insane for them last year, and having him go out was massive. Because I know Kimbrel hasn't been performing recently because I don't know if Father Time's catching up to him or what it is, but that
right,
scares me a lot. And yeah, Corbin Burns starting to go down. He was always the lifeboat that they would always have because I mean he's Corbin Burns. He won a Cy Young and he's insane. But yeah, their pitching has always scared me going into the year. It scared me even after acquiring Corbin Burns. I do like their offense a lot better than the Yankees. Uh, like you said, because the Yankees they got two guys, and if one of them's not performing, it's tough to rely on just one guy. And I don't know, it's never good to just look at two guys in a lineup. And I mean, the fact that you can pitch around them, and I was looking, Aaron Judge has 16 intentional walks, and that's just going to go up. and that doesn't tell
Well,
the story of when they pitch around him without intentionally walking him.
so
So,
it's interesting now though because Soto is actually helping take that pressure off Judge
mhm,
because if you just pitch around Judge, you're gonna face. I don't know. I think Soto's still leading off in front of Judge, but the way it's working now is like because there's Soto there now, you can't just pitch around Judge, right?
yeah,
So having that support is actually allowing him to get more pitches thrown his way because you can't just pitch around him now.
mhm.
But yeah, you can. I was gonna go through unless you had something else said. I was gonna go through the Orioles guys who are out right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. The protection definitely helps them, but yeah, you can keep going.
So yeah, I was just gonna mention they do have a lot of guys coming back in September, including hitters. But Bradish out for the year. I watched him almost go a no against my White Sox. That was brutal. He's nasty. Grayson Rodriguez out, not having the best season, but still that's another arm. He's gonna be back mid September. Jordan Westberg is out right now, mid September as well. Ryan Mountcastle is gone as well right now, early September. So we'll be seeing him soon. Zach Eflin is on the IL right now. That was who they just required from the Rays.
Mhm.
He'll
That's
be back
big
early
too.
September. But yeah, he's been out. Bautista, like we said, out for the season. John Means out for the season. So lots of guys just hitting the shelf, and it sucks. But impressive that the Orioles have still been, very competitive. It is really just attributed to the superstars they have on their team with
Yeah,
Gunnar and Santander and Rutschman. All those guys are so fun to watch, man. So when the Orioles get healthy, watch out because they could go on another tear here in September and into August. Um, but yeah, definitely interesting, something to keep an eye on.
100%.
All
Do you
right.
have anything you want to add on the other teams? We should probably give something like the Red Sox. They've been up and down this year, but they are 68 and 64. We don't have to touch on the
And
Rays and the Blue Jays, but
so yeah, so they're 4 games back of the Twins right now for that third wild card spot. Um, Boston is getting hot at the right time. I think you're really starting to see the offensive production come out.
mhm,
Jaron Duran obviously has been, I think, the standout player on this team.
yeah,
Um, but let me pull up. Even guys like Masataka Yoshida is actually starting to bring his bat around because the guy doesn't play defense.
no,
But
not at
recently, his bat has been turning up. Over his last 15 games, he's batting 346, 424, 538. That's with 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, 18 hits. So
all.
the bat is starting to come around for him, which is huge, especially if you're not getting the defensive production from him. You definitely want him to have that hot bat. That's why they signed him and paid him all that money. So the OPS is starting to tick up for him, which is good. Tristan Casas is also another guy who just is got so much power at first, and he's your stereotypical tall first base slugger. He's been hitting the ball well, I know. I think I have a feeling. Okay, but like the thing with the Red Sox, they're in such a good spot right now. Like to be 68 and 64, the Red Sox have one of the better farm systems, I would say, right now. And regardless if they make it this year, they are set up so well for the future, especially like heading into next year. I'm really liking how it's like lining up for them right now. So I think being where they are right now, it's so awesome to see because I'm just gonna list off the guys they've got coming up. The
Yeah,
top two is Marcelo Mayer and Roman Anthony. Both of these guys are going off in AAA right now. They're all playing together.
mhm,
I would expect them to be up next year. Roman Anthony is going to play in the outfield. Marcelo Mayer will be up the middle. And that is going to be just so much additional help to their team. Rafi obviously is still Rafael Devers. And then Connor Wong behind the plate. Like the talent is there. And then you
yeah,
had guys even on the pitching staff, Cutter Crawford, Tanner Houck, like guys who I probably wouldn't have told you I knew of before this, that are just putting out quality start after quality start, and it's fun to see. And fun to see them still be a very competitive team in a tough division, and just when they're not really supposed to be that competitive right now. Um, so I think heading into the end of the season, they've put themselves in a really good position to where you don't have to rush anything, you don't have to rush prospects up, you don't have to rush like getting to the postseason this year.
yeah,
But you can kind of build on what you're building this year and take that what you have into next year, which I think they'll make the AL Central a lot more. No, not Central. Their division a lot more interesting
Yeah.
with the Yankees and Orioles. So yeah,
I'll add something quick so we can keep going. But uh, like you said, their offense has really started to come around, and I really do like their offense. Somebody didn't mention probably because he's always there and he's so consistent. He's not really even. I mean, he needs his flowers, but he doesn't have to be mentioned because this is not anything new for him. But Devers is hitting. He's hit 28 home runs with a 940 OPS, 156
so
OPS
good.
plus. Yeah, he's been absolutely killing it. Um, and something that's worrying me is, do you remember like the first? I don't know if it was a month or like 6 weeks, but their starting pitching was like far and away the best ERA wise in
Yep.
LB.
Yes. Yep.
Looking at it now, because I know they've fallen off quite a bit. I know Cutter Crawford had a stretch where he was like kind of brutal, and Tanner Houck, while he's still been good, he hasn't been the Cy Young kind of
Yeah.
candidate like he used to be. But in the past 15 days in the MLB, the Red Sox have a 5.15 ERA, which is 24th.
I know
And
that
let's
bullpen's been struggling a lot to hold their
yeah,
weight.
yeah. In the
So
last
yeah,
30 days, they're 25th with a 5.27 ERA. So that they definitely have to pick it up because at the beginning of the year they were kind of being carried by their pitching, and now it's kind of flipped. They're being carried by their offense. So yeah, just to finish that up, I would
yep.
like to see that
Okay.
pitching if they want a chance at the wild card.
Very good point. All right. You want to run AL Central next?
Yes, do it.
Okay.
So we got leading. We got the Cleveland Guardians, and actually, while we speak today, if you want to look this
They're,
up real quick,
are they playing right now?
their game might have just finished. I know that when we started recording, it was like eighth inning. So
I'll
check on
check
it
it. I'll
right
check
now
it.
and let me know. I know the Guardians were up six
But
to five tonight.
okay.
Let's see.
Um.
Before I keep going, I'll wait for you to.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Why can't I? Hold on. The Royals have already taken the first three. Okay, Guardians did win today. They won 7-5.
Okay, so yeah, I'll update it according to that. So let's see. Yeah, so Cleveland Guardians. They're a game ahead now of the Kansas City Royals, who are uh, second place in the division, and then the Twins are 3 games back. They've been sliding pretty badly. Tigers have been surging, but they're still only 8.5 back, and then the White Sox. So we're at the bottom of our division, 44 games back. Actually, insane. Um,
I
yeah, like you said, Kansas City won the first 3 games. If they would have won the game today for the 4 game sweep, I think there would have been riots in Cleveland.
I love the Royals, man. I as much as I don't like them because they're in our division or whatever. They
Yeah.
are such a fun team, dude. Oh my gosh.
Oh
I
yeah.
like every time you watch these guys, they are all over the place. Like but it goes without saying, Bobby Witt Jr., 346, 399,
Hmm.
618 for a 1017 OPS. Just nuts. There was that stretch he was batting close to 500, I think in like early August, maybe end of July.
Yeah.
And during that stretch, he came to guaranteed rate field and pretty much won all 3 games for the Royals against us, which
Hmm.
was brutal. You have Salvi still looking like, an all-star catcher even at his
Yeah.
age. Still, I think he had a grand slam yesterday in that game.
Hmm.
Just there's production from so many guys here, and it seems like even when some guys are off, the other guys like kind of rally them together. And then I'll dive into some of the pitching too, because the pitching has been equally as good as the hitting.
Yeah.
Cole Reagan's obviously has been solid. 3.28 ERA. Lugo's got a
Amazing.
3.19. Brady Singer's got a 3.38. And then Michael Waka has been one of the best pitchers in the second half. He's lowered his down to a 3.5. I mean, if you're looking at like a wild card series, a division series, like what teams are going to go against that starting rotation and feel confident, Like it is just consistent, 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 and it's insane to see.
Yeah, I'll add on to that. Well, like you said, Cole Reagan's has been amazing. He could him and Lugo are both in talks for Cy Young. While Skubal he's starting to kind of run away with it because it's getting kind of later in the year, but those guys definitely deserve a lot of praise because going into the year I was not high that I didn't really see Kansas City as a threat to take the division. I'm not saying over the Tigers. I'm just saying in general, I didn't see them as
Yeah.
much of a threat purely because of their pitching. Because well, Cole Reagans looked good at the end of last year, and because they picked him up from the Rangers, which was an absolute fleece job by Kansas City. That was awesome. But
Yeah.
it does not look fluky at all. Seth Lugo, he's been good before. He's never been this good. He used to be a reliever, so I was kind of worried about his pitching limit. But he's pitched like the first, second, or third. He's up there for the most innings pitched, so that doesn't seem to be a worry. And then Brady Singer,
Impressive too. He's so old. Like not super old, but like he's up there in age and he's just grinding it out, man. It's impressive
I
from that
guess
guy.
just crafty. He's not. He doesn't throw. He's not going to blow you away with
No.
anything.
Nope.
Brady Singer's been
Um,
good too, and then Michael Waka is just a veteran that he's going to eat innings and not give the game away every game. So
do you want to? Okay, so I was looking at it. I'm gonna read off this stat line, and I want to. There's no way you're gonna guess who this is, but it's so funny because of who it is.
okay,
So over his last 30 games, this player is batting 300 or slashing 300, 368, 600 for a 968 OPS. He's hit 5 home runs with 12 RBIs, three doubles.
for Kansas City.
Now, yeah, don't. I want to give you a hint because I don't think you're gonna get
Wait,
otherwise. But
okay. Hold up. Don't say anything yet. This is in the past how many games?
this is over his last 30 days. He's let's see how many. He's got 20 games and 60 at bats for this
Is
player.
he
Over the
is he somewhat um like highly known? Like, does he have a little, or does he not have any type of credibility?
he does,
I'm gonna
but
say Vinny Pascantino.
okay, that's a good guess. Who's honestly having a pretty good past 30 days as well. But this is a former White Sox who actually moved at the deadline this year.
Oh, geez, who did they trade everybody away? It's hard to even keep up with.
This is Paul
Oh,
DeYoung. This is Paul DeYoung,
is it
hitting
really?
300 in Kansas City Blue.
I had no idea. That's
Are you kidding me? What?
dude.
968 OPS with the Royals, dude? That's insane.
He wasn't bad with you guys, but he's just cranking it
He
up now that he's
wasn't
on.
bad, but he wasn't this good. Oh my goodness. The average definitely was never there. The power was, yeah, but
That's
he's
funny.
how many so what? I know he's got 23 home runs this year.
That's absurd.
That's nuts.
He's
He's
had
batting
power before,
240
but
with
it's
a
been a while.
746 OPS on the season. Man, oh man.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get
uh
into yeah, keep going. So, uh, Guardians have been falling. Uh, it's been kind of scary if you're a Guardians fan. We all knew that it. We didn't know, but we were kind of worried it might not have been sustainable because their bullpen has been insane, like historically one of the best, and their bullpen has also pitched some of the most innings, so that can be really taxing. So I haven't looked at their bullpen stats in the past 30 days, but I'm assuming it's fallen off from what it was because it was at like a insane peak. So
let's take
that
a
could
look.
be a big reason. Their hitting's also kind of went down. David Fry hasn't been like the insane like where'd he come from type of player that he was at the beginning of the year. So yeah, the Guardians fans might be a little bit nervous right now.
Yeah, no, they've been slumping and now losing 3 out of 4 to Kansas City. It's like they're losing their grasp on that division. I remember back in like I don't know a month or two ago, it was like, oh, nobody's even gonna compete with the
Mhm.
Guardians for the division. It's more of like, okay, who from the Royals and Twins are gonna um, make it into make it in the wild card and stuff like
Yeah,
that. But
right.
now both teams are right there, which is just crazy. I'm gonna pull up the numbers on. Let's see. So in terms of ERA, this is just team ERA. This is not bullpen. I
Yeah.
can pull that up too, though. But they are over the past 3 days, they're 21st MLB with a 4.48. But I think the real struggle here has been in the hitting, if I'm not mistaken. So let me get that pulled up.
While you're
Yeah.
doing that,
So
yeah, go ahead. It's all you.
I was just yeah. So over the past 30 days, the team as a whole has a 677 OPS, which is 24th in the
Mm,
MLB over that same stretch. Average for the team is at a 224 over that stretch as well.
yeah,
So you're starting to see that decline, I think, with a lot of these, like, your David Fries, Stephen Kwan, I think has come back down to earth just a bit. J Ram is
definitely.
still obviously great.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I think they're looking for help anywhere they can get it. I just heard about, have you heard of Joensky Noel yet? The, I
yeah. Just the pure power hitter, just like yeah,
yes.
pure
I'm
strength.
gonna see. Let's see what he's doing over that same stretch.
He's
What were you
been
gonna
he's
say?
been killing it. I know he's been killing it. He's been on LMB's Instagram page like every other day. It seems like hitting tanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Were you gonna add something to the
I was
before I
gonna
was
while you were looking up the stats, I was gonna dig into the Twins a little bit. Um, you want me to do that, or should we finish up on the Guardians? Do you have anything else on them?
I'm trying to find the oh, here he is. All right. So over the past 30 games, how do you say Jowinski? Is that what it is? Jensky?
I think it's Johansky. That's what I've heard.
Okay. Yeah, so right now is he's slashing 276, 373, 621 for a 994 OPS. He's got
Hmm.
6 home runs over that stretch as well. So I think he's kind of filling in that like empty role that a lot of Guardians kind of coming it out and replace that.
Hmm.
Because I don't think Josh Naylor is really going to be that huge of an impact player. So nice to see he's adding some power, especially in the middle of the lineup. But yeah, so just some guy that's trying to give him life. But yeah,
Yeah,
you can move on to the Twins if you want.
he's definitely helping them out a lot. To get into the Twins kind of similar to the Guardians, but for a different reason. I really do feel bad for you guys with all these injuries every year. It seems like you guys are cursed. Just looking at your starting rotation, Pablo Lopez, who has not been the Pablo Lopez that we all knew from last year and years past, he's not looking the same. They got Zebby Matthews, who's um, still trying to find his way in the league. Bailey Ober has been. He had a. I think I was talking to you about this. He had. It might have been like nine
Yeah.
or 10 consecutive quality starts. I don't know if he snapped
Yep.
that or not, but he was on a great stretch. Um, Woods Richardson has been a pleasant surprise for them, and then they had David Festa, who was doing great in the minors, and now he's also trying to find his footing. But looking at your injured list, this is where it gets kind of painful. Joe Ryan, who's I think Joe Ryan's one of the I think he's a top 20 pitcher in the MLB when he's healthy. That hurts a lot to have him out. Desclafani, I mean, you don't really know what you're going to get from him, but he has had good years in the past. And then you guys got Buxton and Korea, who are always on the injured list, it seems. That's absolutely brutal. At least you got Royce Lewis. Royce Lewis has been insane whenever he plays. When you look at his like 162 game sample, it's always like it's been insane. And he's definitely not feeling in the prospect like status department from when he was a prospect because he was one of the top guys coming up. So I don't know. I don't really know what to think about the Twins. Um, they kind of worry me. The Tigers are creeping up on them. Not really, but
Hey, gotta give him a little credit.
yeah.
I just pulled up Bailey Ober's last start. It was 2 days ago against the Braves. 2 innings, 7 hits, 9 earned runs.
So he broke
So
it. He
yeah,
broke that, but he did have
his
a
ERA.
yeah,
I was gonna say his ERA jumped from a 3.5 to 4.06 on that
dude. That's
outing, which
brutal.
is
He had a
insane.
lot of consecutive quality starts, so he was you can't just look at the overall ERA to get the full picture, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No. All right. So AL Centric. I'll move on to the AL West.
Well, okay, real quick before we
Oh.
pass by them, I'll
Oh.
quickly say the
Okay.
Tigers have been in the past 15 games. They're 12-3, which is the best record in that past 15 games. They've been surging. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games to finally
That's
become
good.
over 500 for the first time since 2016 for after the All Star break. So that's been
Yeah.
awesome to see. And they have right now with the lineup they've been putting out, it's the youngest lineup in all of baseball. So that's been kind of exciting to see all the prospects come up, and it's really just Scooble and then Montero on 3 bullpen days. So yeah,
Tigers are a
just
fun watch
that
right
was
now.
yeah, definitely. I'm excited for
Yeah.
the future, but I've said that in the past, so we can just move on.
Okay. All right. AL West. Do you want to get us? We'll wrap up the AL here.
Okay. Yeah. So we got first place. We have the Houston Astros. Second place, we have the Mariners, who are 3.5 games back. Third, we got the Rangers, who are 9.5. They've been falling a lot recently. We got the Oakland Athletics, who are 13 games back, and then the Angels, who are 16 games back. Um, so I'll just throw some stuff out there real quick before you do. The 10-game lead the Mariners had over the Astros. I'm gonna be honest. We all didn't think the Mariners were like a guaranteed lock to win. I thought they were gonna win because I mean 10 games is 10 games no matter what point of the season you're in, but you can never count the Astros out.
Oh no.
And especially once they sneak in the playoffs, then it gets really scary because those guys always perform. Altuve and all them. But yeah, just with that, the Mariners, their hitting is absolutely brutal. It's never been good, and they try to trade and get guys, and um, everybody goes to
The
Seattle,
Mariners
and they
make
forget how to
they
hit.
make me
So
so sad. They make me so sad. There's so
yeah,
many guys on that rotation I like, and they give them no help.
that's the best rotation in baseball. I'm pretty sure you would agree.
Yes. The White Sox played the Mariners in two series this year, and both of those were a brutal watch. It was um, Brian Wu followed by George Kirby and Logan Gilbert in three
Yeah,
consecutive days. And I'd watch the White Sox scratch off one or two on a wild pitch, and then they lose 4-2. So yeah, not a good time. I did the Astros. I think, like you said, we all kind of knew it was inevitable. But in a year where their pitching has been so like interchangeable in a way, like you have guys kind of getting hurt or coming
mhm,
back or getting called up. The pitching has been like actually solid, and I think that's a big
yeah,
part why they've been on this tear. I just want to go over some of their starters as of late. So Hunter Brown has a 2.70 ERA over his past 30 innings. Yusei Kikuchi, the guy that got traded at the deadline from the Blue
mhm,
Jays, has a 2.89 over his past 28 innings. Framber Valdez, 2.73. Spencer Arrighetti, 2.55. So that's four of your starters at a sub 3 ERA over their past, five or six starts,
yeah,
which is huge, obviously. But it's almost like the Astros don't need. I mean, the offensive production I feel like is always kind of going to be there.
yeah,
It's hard to
definitely.
not have it when it's Bregman, Altuve, Jordan. And I think the thing that scares me so much about this team is the playoff experience is there with so many of these guys. They've been
Mhm,
through this before. They've lived for the moment. Minute Maid Park is so tough to play in the postseason that
yeah,
when you see the Astros get like this, they become, I think, one of the better teams in the AL and somebody you don't want to face in the playoffs. So, yeah.
100%,
We
100%.
can dive. I know Bregman went on a tear recently over a stretch of games. Um, yeah, he's slashing 283, 313, 565 over the past 30. Jordan's got an OPS above one over his past 30 days. Yandy Diaz also is starting to turn up a bit since the All Star break. So they are a fun watch. They're always going to be there. They're always even through their ups and downs. They're gonna come up somewhere. And they're lucky that the AL West just doesn't have many competitive teams right now. But yeah, it's exciting to see them kind of make their way back to the top, probably where they deserve to be. I would say. I don't think any other team really is worthy of that right now.
Yeah, they put it all together, and their bullpen is while it started out shaky. When you have Hader, who's been absolute nails recently, he might have had. I think he had like one like kind of blow up though recently, but overall in the past like 10 games, he's been amazing. Um, yeah, just their starting rotation. I'll throw the one guy you didn't name from the starting pitching because he's kind of been falling off a little recently, but he also deserves credit for overall the season he's put together, especially in the beginning of the year. He was keeping them afloat. Was Ronel Blanco, who
Mm.
didn't even know if he was gonna make the roster out of spring or before spring training started. So that's been awesome to see, and he's been. um, putting together a pretty good season. So they're definitely
Yeah,
scary for playoffs.
and let's say Astros are heading into the, eighth inning of the ALDS. You got to go against Brian Abreu and Josh Hader to finish it out. So
Yeah,
I think
Abreu
that's
too.
about as locked down of a 1-2 as you can get. So I think
Yeah,
they're going to be a tough exit for any team that faces them in the postseason.
definitely.
All right, you want to move on to the NL or anything else you want to add?
I think we can. Yeah, I think we're good to move on.
All right, sweet. So we're gonna kick things off in the NL East. Lots of exciting teams in this division. Lots of interesting
Mhm.
stories as well. So leading it currently, and they've been leading most of the season, it's the Philadelphia Phillies with a 78-54 record. Following them, or no, behind them, is the Atlanta Braves, who are currently 6 games back of the division. In the wild card spot, they're 72-60. The Mets closely behind with 69-63. They're 6 games above 500 now, which is pretty impressive. They are 3 games back of the wild card, 9 games back of the Phillies. The Nats are 60-73, and the Marlins are 48-84.
Yeah. Okay. I
I
start us off
you
with so the Phillies. The Phillies they've been there all year. They've been doing great, and they're another team kind of similar to the Astros. Once they get in the playoffs, nobody really wants to see them. I'm just looking at, let's see, the past 15 days OPS, and the Phillies are sitting at fourth. So their hitting's been there in the past 15 days with an 800 OPS. However, their pitching, it's been treading water. They're 17th in the past 15 days in ERA. Um, so I mean, overall, that's really all you have to do at this point in the season when you have kind of a healthy hold on the division. You just have to kind of just tread water and win like a few series here and there, but just I mean, you can't get swept and stuff like that. But
and I just gonna add really quick. Rangers coming back Saturday. He's been out for a while, so they're
yeah,
getting him back now. Who I mean, arguably the NL Cy Young before he went out.
yeah, he was
Doesn't have the
insane.
hot stuff, but so good, so good. Um, yeah, and I was watching Phillies Astros last night actually, and Austin Nola just goes out and goes 7 shutty.
Hmm.
Um, and one of the best bullpens in all of MLB. They did trade away Sir Anthony Dominguez, but they got Carlos Estevez from the Angels. Really good. I don't know if they're. I think he's their closer now, unless Hoffman still is. But you got him. You've got Hoffman. You've got Strom. You got Alvarado still. And
Hmm.
then the rotation is as good as it gets, also. But then also, again, I'll talk about the postseason experience with Schwarber and Harper and Trey. All these guys have been through the ringer. JT Realmuto.
Yeah,
So again, they are a force to be reckoned with in the NL, regardless of if they're on a hot streak or not. I think just even getting the postseason makes them a World Series threat from the start, just because of what that team identity is. So yes, a very competitive team as we head towards down the stretch. Um, the Braves are a sad story this year.
they're sad. However, in the past, let's see what the record is. They've been doing a lot better, but I mean, is it too late? I don't know. That's for you to kind of judge for yourself. But right now they're sitting at 6 games back. That's some tough ground to make up, especially with only like 29 games left in the season. But let's see. Let's
Well,
look
and
at
they're running so thin.
yeah.
It's really good that Michael Harris is back. He's been kind of providing life in this team that
Mhm.
is seeing so many guys go down. The pitching is always going to be there now with Chris Sale, Ronaldo Lopez, Max Fried. That is the bright spot, definitely. But just with Ozzy down, Acuna down, Riley's been in and out. It's tough for this team to stay competitive just because it's so many injuries and so many of your quality players going down.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't go over the fact either that Spencer Strider, who's some people consider their top five, top 10 pitcher in the league when he's healthy, that hurts big time. But like you said, with that trio they have, and then they have Charlie Morton, who's got the postseason experience, and he's eating innings, and um, he's not going to kill you out there. Sometimes he can, but Schwellenbach has been really good coming up from the minors. that's kind of been a good surprise to them. And Ronaldo Lopez, he's always had the stuff. He was a relief pitcher, and I don't know, it's looking really good for him. And if he can continue this in the postseason, that rotation's actually a pretty big threat. So
White Sox legend Reynaldo Lopez. Never
yeah, he
forget.
actually he had some good seasons there.
Yeah. Another note, Raisel Iglesias, former Angel legend. I should have brought my signed card from him.
I didn't know that.
Over his past 14 in the third inning, no earned runs.
Really,
Yep. And
that helps.
that's six saves in that stretch also.
Nice.
The Braves are another team where they're pitching rotation and bullpen. I've carried them this far. Um, they're another team where it's like if you sneak in, they might be able to do some damage. Especially we don't
Yeah.
know about Albies getting back still, but maybe they can make some magic happen again. Maybe they were trying to do that with getting Jorge Soler at the trade deadline. But yeah, they're another interesting one to keep an eye on. And then we
I'll
already
throw
kind of
this real
touched on.
quick too,
Oh,
real quick. I do like while they do have guys that are out with injuries, and the injuries they're not like small injuries either, so that's kind of scary. But their depth is really good. Just looking at their team, they have some utility guys that can still provide some offensive um, prowess with Gio Urshela, Whit Merrifield. They just got Gio, and then um,
wait, wait,
depending
wait,
on the
wait,
day
Geo.
with the
Wait, wait,
platoon,
wait. Did the Tigers DFA Geo?
yeah, they got rid of him.
Oh, I did not
It
know
was
that.
just
So
to
the
make
Braves
room.
picked him up.
Yeah, it was to make room for Jace Jung, but their bench
Huh.
players, Adam Duvall, Jared Kelnick, and like I said, this is depending on who's pitching against them. Sean Murphy, and he switches off with Travis Darno, but that depth is huge, especially for the playoffs. But is it enough to take down like a powerhouse like the Dodgers or like the Phillies who have also been there? We'll find out, I guess. But
Yeah, Whit
yeah,
Merrifield is slashing 291, 402, 419, 821 over the past 30 days. I did not know that.
he's always got
So
it
good
in
point
the
about the
bag.
depth.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, and then we did touch on the Mets a bit. Anything else you want to add about them? They're very close in the wild card race. Obviously, I don't see them fighting back to win the division.
Yeah.
Looking at the wild card pictured for the NL specifically, their main competitor is going to be the Braves right now. You don't see them catching the Padres or the Diamondbacks. So Braves is probably going to be the closest one. They got at that third spot. It'll be interesting to see if
Hmm.
they catch up to them. But I think it is kind of their spot to lose at this point. I think if they keep playing the way they do, they could have as good a shot at any. But um, if the Braves also decide to keep it up, then it may not be at their grass either. So yeah.
I'll throw this out there real quick too with the Mets. I don't know. It's just been with how bad their season started. I think they were like 0-5 or 0-6, which I mean that's a super small sample size, anyways. But their season, and I don't mean to throw this out there, but the grimace ever since that they've been a very exciting team to watch. Super
Yep.
exciting, and
Yep.
they kind of remind me of the Red Sox, where they were before the season started, they were kind of looked at as this like rebuilding team. That's like, okay, we got some young guys like with Francisco Alvarez and Vientos, guys that were just trying to like get their feet under them, and now all of a sudden they're in the Red Sox too. They're in the wild card hunt. So if you're a Mets fan, you got to be happy overall, I'd say.
Oh yeah, for sure. Vientos has, I think, been the biggest, nicest surprise for them this year. You've heard concerns about his defense, but I think he's plugged and play at third, just as
Hmm.
well about as anybody could expect it. And then the bat obviously is there for him as well.
Yeah.
They're a very exciting team to watch. I'll always try and click on a Mets game if they're playing, just because that energy. I mean, I think we both saw the Alvarez walk off and the Jesse Winker walk off. Like the vibes are there, so they're
Yeah.
definitely a team
They're
to
having
keep an
fun.
eye out for. Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, so we're gonna bounce over to the NL Central now. This is probably I would say the least, not least closest, but I think there's a
At
clear
least,
front runner here.
yeah. Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you mean.
So the Brewers have sustained a great season so far. They're 75 and 56, 8.5 games. ahead of second place, which is the Cubs right now, who are sitting at 68 and 66, who are honestly starting to heat up a bit. They're making a push for the wild card, which I wasn't really expecting.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are close behind at 65, 67. The Reds are 63, 69. And then the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are at 62 and 71. So as I said before, I think it's a pretty clear front runner in this scenario with the Brewers. They've been in the division lead, I think, all the way back since April, May. They have not let it go, and it hasn't really been close, to be honest with you. The Cubs are kind of the one team that I think could make a late push. The Cardinals, I just don't think have enough juice left in the tank to get there. But yeah, so not a lot of activity going on in the NL Central, but still something to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah. I'll start off with Milwaukee. Milwaukee is, I don't know, I like them a lot. And I'm saying that because they're here every year. They've always got guys that are going to step up. The past 15 days, I'm looking at their stats right now. They're second in ERA with a 3.22. So they're holding up like any other team would. Um, Hitting wise, let's see the past 15 days. They're hitting in the years past. It's been a concern. This year, it's been actually decent. Uh, to go along with their pitching, but there's 16th in OPS in the past 15 days. So when you're pitching a second ERA, then you can have a middle of the pack hitting. But yeah, with Freddie Peralta, who's always going to be there to pitch. The rest of the rotation is meh. Tobias Myers has had some great starts. Frankie Montas is just a veteran that can give you some good starts. It depends, but yeah, their team's been pretty exciting to watch.
I'm curious. So, Brewers get in the postseason, whatever, NLDS, let's say.
Mhm.
So, looking at it like from a lineup, like rotation standpoint, as the opposing team, okay, you get Peralta game one, and then it's Tobias Myers, Colin Ray, Frankie Montas, and that's your 4 game rotation. Like, they've
Yeah,
been good, they've been good all year, but that doesn't scare me at all.
not even a little bit.
But if they keep being serviceable, the bullpen is always going to pick them up. The bullpen has been top 5 in the league the whole year. They've been so
Bullpen's
good.
amazing. Yeah.
And even without Yelich in the lineup, they've still kept up that level of just being good, being solid, being fun to watch. One guy I wanted to highlight is Jackson Churio. He's really picked it up over his past 30 days.
Yeah.
The slash line is 301, 351, 505, so an 856 OPS. He hit a moonshot yesterday. It was 449 at American Family Field. It was off the scoreboard to deep center. Roped, absolutely roped.
Mhm.
He's just such a dynamic player, so fun to watch, and he's given just life to this team. He's kind of, I don't want to say the new head with Yelich gone. I think Contreras and Adames are probably still, team leaders in that sense. But
Yeah.
in terms of just hitting and everything, Churio's really picked this team and kind of put it on his back. So that's been really fun to watch, I think.
Yeah, he's a super exciting player, and with how bad of the season he started with, for him to pick it up like this has been massive for them. Um, Especially with Contreras was like insane to start the year. He's kind of came back down to earth, but he's still one of the top catchers in the league. So um, yeah, like you said, looking at their starting rotation, that is very very scary. But they are a pitching factory. So I mean, you can always get innings out of guys, but when you get in the postseason, is that enough? I don't really think so, but um, yeah, I still think they're the best team in that division, and while they might not make much noise in the playoffs, it's still a divisional title at the very least. So
Right.
they should be
Which,
happy.
yeah, I always, well, yeah, I always joke with Kevin about that, about how they're just going to win the division every year and then get knocked down in the first round.
Yeah, it
Um,
does seem to happen, and I would not be surprised if it happened this year. But
I wanted to also highlight the Cubs just for a second. Pete Armstrong has been an insanely fun watch as of late. Another young guy who's starting to come into his own. I'm sure you saw that inside the park home run where he made it around the bases in like 14
yeah,
seconds.
fastest
Um,
since
so
like Buxton like 5 years ago or like 8 years ago.
yeah,
Something.
so I just wanted to, over his past 30 days, also 318, 381, 557 for a 938 OPS. He slugged 4 home runs with 16 RBIs in that time and 7 stolen bases. So it's fun to see him kind of get the bat going at the pro level. The defense has always been there. Just such a dynamic player. So nice to see the hitting starting to come around too. I've had a few other guys who are hitting it well. Seiya Suzuki's batting 317 right now. Miguel Amaya's up to 338. Nico Horner 275. Even Dansby's starting to pick it up. I know it's been such a tough year for him, but he's slashing 261, 347, 455 with an 802 OPS. So the Cubs are getting hot at the right time. It seems they've won 7 of their last 10. So you don't know if they're just going to keep it up. And then I think
Yeah,
just looking at the wild card race, I mentioned that the Mets are kind of the team in front of them, but they're only 5 games back of that third spot. Um,
yeah,
so we'll see if they can make some noise. It's kind of been a weird year for them overall, and it's been a weird past couple of years with what they're trying to do. But
yeah.
definitely a team to keep an eye on for now.
I'll add this in there. So this is their situation while they're like a lot of games back from Milwaukee, but just looking at their pitching, since you mentioned their offense, their relievers, their bullpen has not been good at all this year. If you look at any social media page with comments on it, you will see angry Cubs fans talking about that. But I will say that their starting pitching is very promising. If they did happen to sneak in the playoffs, a 4 game rotation of Steele, Imanaga, Assad, and Tyone, who's been actually really good this year, that's I mean that's nothing to scoff at. So um, yeah, that'd be kind of exciting if they got in with that rotation. I like that a lot, but we'll see. Time will tell.
Yes, it will. All right, so now we're into our
Who
last division. Unless you
want
got
to do
anything else to
Cardinals
add.
first?
Oh yeah, Cardinals. Um, I'm just gonna shout out Mason Wynn. I love Mason Wynn, one of my favorite players right now. Um, I also love Eric Fetty, former White Sox legend.
Hmm.
But other than that, the Cardinals give me just not good enough. Kind of.
Yeah,
I don't see any scenario. They've been so just mediocre this entire season. Nobody really stands out to me that's going to make an impact on this team. They've had their chances to jump out and kind of give themselves a couple games over 500, and they kind of just squander that every single time it seems.
yeah,
I there's no confidence I have in this team unless you want to say add something else. But yeah,
yeah. I'll add a little bit in. I honestly, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I'm not really too high on them, especially looking at their ages, like a rotation of Sonny Gray, Fetty, Gibson, Miles Mikolas, and then they had like Steven Matt, who's on the injured list, and like um, Lance Lynn. Like those guys, the ages it's starting to catch up to them, and it kind of goes on to the offensive side too. Goldschmidt and Arenado are not what they used to be because they're also getting up there in age. But I will say one thing: their bullpen. I'm very high on their bullpen. With Ryan Helsley has been amazing. He was in the All Star game. Kittredge has been getting holds like every day. It seems like, and then they also got Jojo Ramiro, who's been great, and Liberatore, and just their bullpen's good, but it's about cut off right there. So
mm,
uh,
yeah, and
you're in a tough spot for the future, I'd say.
I would agree with that. Yeah, it's been a weird year for them. And then the Fetty deal was good for them too. They need to start pitching. They got it, but it just hasn't really done much of anything. I mean, it's another good arm to have, but it doesn't seem like the team has followed suit with that. So yeah, might just be a kind of another year of just being too short for them.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, all right, so NL West now, probably the most exciting division that we have left. It's a three-team race. I would say that this one or the AL Central are both equally probably.
Hmm.
Something I wanted to pull up before I get into the records. So I saw this on Instagram yesterday. This is records since the All Star break. So
Okay.
the top three teams, record wise, since the All Star break, are all in the NL West. So you can probably guess who those teams are. Number
Hmm.
one is the Diamondbacks. They've been 26-8 since the All Star break. The Padres are 25-9 since the All Star break, and then the Dodgers are 22-12. So those are the top three teams, which is mind-boggling to me. Um, so getting into the records though, the Dodgers are 78-54 right now. They're 3 games ahead of both the Diamondbacks and the Padres. The Diamondbacks are sitting at 75 and 57. Padres are 76 and 58. The Giants are 67 and 66, so still not out of it, but it's, I would say, looking bleaker than the other teams for them. And then the Rockies are 49 and 84. I don't really need to mention them. But yeah, if you can pick any of the teams you want to start with, there's probably a lot of talking points for all three of them. So whenever you're ready,
Yeah,
just go at it.
there's a lot here, and these teams all the top three teams deserve a ton of credit because that it's been super exciting to see. But I'll start out with the Dodgers. So first of all, I just want to say their injury situation is very brutal, especially with the pitching. Having Dustin May out, who's I think Dustin May when he's healthy is could be really good. He hasn't shown really much because he's always been hurt, but him Yamamoto was good before he got hurt, and he's got the pedigree obviously with that contract and his past in the over the seas. But and then Shohei Ohtani, people don't even realize that he's one of the best pitchers. I mean, people know that, but he's technically on the injured list for them pitching wise because he should be
Hmm.
pitching. But their starting pitching's still fine with Kershaw, Stone, Bueller, Flaherty, Miller. I mean, I still think that's a good starting rotation. So is it that much of a worry? I don't really know. Kopech's been amazing. That probably makes you hurt to the bone, but um,
Dude, hey, no, I'm saying it right now. We'll say game 6 of the NLCS, there will be a heel spike for Michael Kopech. He's gonna get a balk and let the winning run come in on a balk, and
yeah,
then I'll be
could
happy
happen. Could
again.
easily happen. We'll see. Um, yeah, just a couple other guys in their bullpen. Phillips, Daniel Hudson's always been there. Joe Kelly's another old guy. Blake Trinan is absolutely filthy. He's a good relief pitcher. And then my last thing on the Dodgers, I'll say their lineup does kind of scare me. They are so top heavy, kind of similar to the Yankees. Yet they still have like a couple more guys in Yankees. But however, a 1 through 4 of Otani, Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Will Smith, and then I should have put him in there before, but Freddie Freeman. That's very good. It's top heavy. Is that enough? I think it could be enough to put together like 8 runs in a game or something. But
Something to add to that is just a guy when you're talking about like top heavy. Gavin Lux has started to come into his own where he really
mhm,
struggled at the start of the season. Over the past 30 games or 30 days, it's a slashing 288, 356, 513, 869. So you hope to see more guys like him bring that support that the main cast needs. But yeah, I
yeah,
think you bring up a good point there where you see times where the Dodgers really do struggle, and that's because of the lack of support from the rest of the cast.
yeah,
I do. I definitely want to touch on the Diamondbacks. I've got their numbers pulled up here. The Diamondbacks have been nuclear as of late. It seems like everybody on this team is hitting. Corbin Carroll is starting to find his groove again. It's been a tough year for him, like really tough. You hate to see it, but you guys have guys like Eugenio Suarez, who's batting 307 right now and has a 604 slug. Ketel Marte was recently hurt, but he's also on another planet right now. Josh Bell has been an amazing acquisition for like a flyer or something.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Gave up nothing for him, and he's got an 823 OPS. Del Castillo has also been amazing. I think he's been filling in for Gabby Moreno since he's been out. Jock is still hitting really well. 293, 468, 586 for a 1054 OPS also over his last 30 days. It just seems like every single one of these guys is hitting right now, and it is insane and just really fun to watch. It's a lot. It looks like it's going to be a lot like last year, where this team just gets
Hmm.
radioactive hot over this last stretch, and it looks like they're probably just make another good push at the World Series. But it's crazy how much they've picked it up recently, and yeah, it's just exciting.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. It's just giving me the same vibes as last year, where they just like you said, they went absolutely nuclear and just kind of just went mowed through everybody, no matter even if they're named the Dodgers or not. But I'll throw in there the pitching wise. Um, their starting rotation, I am a fan of. There is some holes in it with Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Brandon Fod, Eduardo Rodriguez, and Ryan Nelson. It's big to get Eduardo back, but his injury history is not good, and I don't you don't really know what you're getting at like 100%. He can be really good at times, but at other times, once he loses his command because he doesn't throw very hard, it can get tough. But I think Brandon Fott is like one of the future of the league, and these names fly under the radar because they're the Diamondbacks and they're a small market team, but that rotation's not bad at all, and that could definitely make some noise in the playoffs. And their bullpens, it's got some names in there. AJ Puck, since getting switched from a starting pitcher to a bullpen arm, has been dealing. I believe they sent Montgomery to the bullpen. I'm not 100%. Ginkel's good in the bullpen, and then Seawald. He had that bad stretch, but he's been there and he's showed that he can take on the high leverage spots. So
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be such an exciting race. I'll touch on the Padres for just a sec. Similar story, I would say, to the Diamondbacks, where they've just been, playing out of their worlds.
hmm
Machado, Jackson Merrill, both of their OPS over one, over like pretty much since the All Star break. The pitching is there. I heard you Darvish is getting ready to come back as well, so he's going to help that rotation. But Musgrove back, Darvish back. You have Dylan Cease. Matt Waldron's even been pretty solid for them this entire season. Um, and Padres, I think, are another team you don't want to run into in the playoffs. That rotation scares me a lot. I'm going to see if Tatis is on track to be back. I haven't heard much about him recently, but yeah.
yeah, I'll their lineup. I love their lineup honestly. Let me look at it real quick. Arias, the ideal leadoff hitter, a little bit of speed, but just pure contact, gonna get on base decent amount of times. Cronenworth, he's had um, he'll put together stretches where he looks like one of the best hitters in the league. Machado, he's been there too. Like I said, Xander Bogaerts, Jackson Merrill, who's such a fun watch. He's got the speed, he's got the defense, playing center field, just hawking down seemingly everything that's hit to him. He's been great. Then you got David Peralta, who's another veteran that can hit. Luis Campusano, just overall, I really like what they're doing over there. I do think it's sustainable, and if they carry it into the playoffs, I think it can definitely scare some teams. So
Yes, for sure. And then I just looked it up. It looks like Tatis is tracking to return in September at some point. So we'll see.
as
That
long
might
as
be a little risky pushing him out.
yeah,
Yeah, but he could be, I mean, we all know what Tatis brings to the field. So that could definitely make things interesting. But yes, very exciting races all across the league. Lots of good stuff to keep in touch with. But yeah, that's going to do it for the outlook. So now we're going to
Mhm.
move on to, I think, the part I'm most excited for.
Yeah, me too.
We're going to do our draft. So pretty much what me and Parker have been looking into is this draft thing. So we were tasked with getting guys who are 25 and younger, can be prospects or guys in the MLB. And then we have to draft a full, pretty much lineup. So catcher through right field, 1 through 9, and then five starting pitchers. So I didn't really think about who would get the first pick. I don't know if there's any way you wanted to decide that or not, or if you care at all. But
Yeah. So, well, okay. First of all, I'll say in this draft, the starting pitchers are mixed in, right? We're not just doing a starting pitcher draft.
correct, yes, it's like you
Yeah.
can pick whatever position you want, so it can be in whatever order you wish.
Okay. I got a coin right here. Heads or tails? This will
Perfect.
be fun. Okay.
Heads.
Heads. You got it. Let's hear it.
Okay,
Number one.
awesome. Okay, wait, are we doing snake? So it's like I'll pick, then you get two, and then I get two, or do you want to just go back and forth?
We'll just go back and forth.
Okay, okay. So I was thinking about this a lot if I did get the first pick. But I think just because the lack of depth at this age at this position concerns me a little bit more. But
Okay.
with my first pick, I'm gonna go with Vladdy for that. He's 25 still. He turns 26 in March. Um, I think he's been going under the radar because of all the other guys who've been hitting insane. But Vladdy's hitting above 400 since the All Star break, and he's batting 320 again this season. Um, this dude's amazing. I know he started off pretty slow this year, but he's been on another level. Like I said, since the All Star break, the numbers are insane. And the fact that he's still, on 25 right now, it just blows me away. And like I said, I think in this position specifically with first base, I didn't see many other guys that I really wanted to go after. So yeah, but I'm going to take Vladdy with the first pick.
Okay. Okay. You left the door open. Well, there's two guys that one of these guys you're gonna pick next. I'm almost 100% sure, but I have to go with Juan Soto. I think Juan Soto is gonna be, if he
Mm,
stays healthy, I think he could be one of like a top three hitter of all time. He's absolutely insane what he's doing because when the Nationals were really good, like that 2019 stretch, I was watching them a lot, and it was so fun to watch. But let me pull up his stats. So he's just doing what Juan Soto does. This year, he's having perhaps maybe one of his best years. I'm looking, the COVID year he did really good, but that's a pretty small sampling. Only had 47 games, but this year I don't know if I'd say he's getting even overshadowed by Judge because Soto's still getting a lot of recognition. I mean, it's kind of hard not to when you're playing it with the Yankees, but 37 home runs, 95 RBIs, leads league in walks, 109 walks. He's got more walks and strikeouts, which is very, very rare. That only like maybe one or
crazy,
two guys a year
crazy.
can say that usually. He's actually the only guy that can say that this year. But his OPS is he's one dotting, so 1.019. And one thing I'll say about him is just his consistency is unreal. Like you'll look at his month splits, and it's anywhere from like 780, which is his floor, which is still a above average player, to like 1.4
Hmm.
OPS. So that consistency is just unmatched. Yeah, so I got to take him.
Good pick, good pick. That was definitely up there for me too. I'm gonna get this guy before you take him because I think he's the clear front runner for this position, or whatever. But it's gonna be Paul Skeens.
Yeah,
Can't say enough about this guy. One of the NL Cy Young, vote getters probably, as a rookie, only a year after he's been drafted. I know his ERA is around a 2.2, 2.1, I think. Just so good, so impressive. You love to watch this guy pitch. I was almost going to go to Milwaukee to watch him. I think I was working or something. And he went, I think he had a no hitter through seven or something like that. Just absolutely dealing. So excited to watch him pitch for the next couple of years, or a long time, and just see how he develops. So I think that's a no brainer for me right there.
yeah, I love it. That he was my next pick. I knew you were either. I didn't know whether to go Soda or Skeens for my first pick, but
Yeah.
Skeens
Soto's
is
a good one. I think
definitely,
Soto's hard to pass on.
yeah. It's tough to go wrong with some of these guys. For my next pick, see, it's tough because I know where you're gonna go next, but there's two guys that are fairly close, but I do have one higher than the other, so I'm not too worried if I. I'm just gonna pick him just because he deserves like the honor, but I'm gonna say Bobby Witt. He is
Hmm.
like when you look at somebody to start your franchise with, he might be number one because the age, the years of control. I mean, especially now because they signed him to that big contract, but he's got 27 home runs, 94 RBIs, 27 stolen bases. So he's pretty much a lock to get a 30-30 season, or he could go 35-35, or we'll find out, I guess. But he leads league in batting average, 346 batting average with a 1.013 OPS. So his WAR is also crazy high, especially for this point in the season. He's going to have a 10 WAR season. He's got an 8.7 WAR right now. So yeah, he's just one of the most fun players to watch. And his defense has really, really started to been on the come up. So yeah, I'm just excited to see what his future holds for him.
Nice. Yeah. I'm gonna wait to take my shortstop now though, because you don't need another one. But
Dang.
I'll give my guy his roses, even though it'll probably be a lot later in the draft. But yeah. So I might. This could be a reach on this next pick, but I really want this guy on my team just because I He's just such a fun watch, and we've already talked about him on the thing today or the podcast today. It's going to be Jackson Merrill out in center field. I really wanted to get him before you did, because this is the guy. I think he's 21 years old, and just seeing him how he's playing right now makes me want. Yes, this is who I want in my outfield for the next 10 years. The numbers speak for themselves. 292 average with an 812 OPS. He's going to hit 20 home runs this year. Probably going to swipe close to 20 bags, at least 15. All of this when he's 21 and in a very big market, I would say in San Diego. I love his competitiveness. I love his drive. I love the energy he brings. Like this is the guy I want to build a good team around. So I think it may be a reach, but I think I like that pick a lot. So
I will say it is not a reach because he was next on my board.
okay, okay.
Dang. Okay. Well, I still got some really good names coming up, but I gotta go catcher. I'm gonna go Adley Rutschman. He's
At least
just
26.
is he really? Did he
Yeah,
just
I
turn
looked it up
26 or
earlier.
what was I
He
looking
must
up?
have.
Let me see.
February. He's 26.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I'll let it slide if you want him. It's not a big
No, no,
deal.
no, no. We're not, no, I don't want any charity. I don't want any
Okay,
handouts.
okay, okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna. I'm not picking Yainer Diaz yet, so I'll hold off on that. I'll jump to the. I'm gonna go to third base. I'll take Royce Lewis. Um,
Oh, okay.
I talked about him. I talked about him a little earlier, but I'll run through his stats because his stats are just crazy.
Oh,
But
wow. Yep.
um, I wish I had it pulled up. But he to start the season, you might know, but he hit 10 home runs in his first
It was an
like
insane stretch. We talked about it.
yeah, he was hitting a
It
home
was like
run
every
every
game.
single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would get injured, come up, hit a home run, get injured, come up, hit a home run. It was just crazy. But um, let's see. So 15 home runs, 40 RBIs this year, 260 batting average. So his batting average hasn't been like anything great, but his slugging is 553. So his power has been there for an 870 OPS, and for a guy that's been up and down between the injured list and on the field, it's hard to find a rhythm, and he still somehow found it. So last year he had a 15 home runs, 52 RBIs, 309 batting average with a 920 OPS. So just every time he's been in the majors, he's shown it. I just really hope that he can stay healthy. That's what everybody's thinking, especially if you're a Twins fan.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good pick.
I do like that one a lot. Okay. Oh my gosh. I think I'm gonna take another pitcher off the board because I think it's a mistake not going after some of these guys. I'm gonna take Hunter Green from Cincinnati.
Mm,
Um, I think Hunter Green, he's on the AL right now, but this was the year he's kind of turned into the ace that the Reds were hoping for. This guy's got crazy stuff. Always a fun watch. It's going to be exciting to watch him with Lodolo, Andrew Abbott, and the Reds over these next couple of years, and hopefully as long as the team keeps improving with them. But Hunter Green, if he stays healthy, the Reds could also be in a much closer race in the playoffs as well. Having him go down sucks a lot. But yeah, I think Paul Skeens, Hunter Green as my 1-2. I'm definitely going to be happy with. So
yeah, he was my third pitcher off the board, so that's a good pick. Okay, I think I think you did leave a guy though that a starting pitcher that I did have him one spot above Hunter Green. I'm gonna go Spencer Strider. He will be. I double checked
he's
now that I got the last one wrong, but he will
he's
be
25.
26. He's 25 and 305 days, so he's getting up there, but still available to
Wow,
me.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like a gimme pick because he's been hurt a lot. Not a lot. This is the first time he's got hurt, but it's a major injury. Last year he was 20-5 with a 3.86 not OPS ERA with 281 strikeouts, which is 281 strikeouts is crazy. 13 and a half Ks per nine, which is also nuts. He led league in FIP and finished fourth in the Cy Young. So his career ERA is 3.47, so he's been even better. his first couple years, but I think once he comes back, that'll be absolutely massive for the Braves. Um, yeah,
I like it. That's a good pick. I seriously no idea that he was under 25, so that's crazy impressive.
I was surprised too when I saw that, but
Okay, so I'm gonna grab my left fielder with this next pick. It's gonna be Jackson Churio of the Brewers. We already talked about him a bit on the episode today, but I cannot reiterate enough how impressive it is for this guy to be 20 years old and batting 272 right now with a 762 OPS. The fact he's even league average right now is very impressive, especially with the slower start he had to this season. There's a
yeah,
very good chance he also goes 2020 this year. He's got 16 home runs with 19 stolen bags right now. Another guy that just brings a lot of energy, brings a lot of speed, a fun watch. He fits like when I think of like a Brewers player right now this season, I feel like he fits like the perfect mold for that. Just
mhm.
dynamic and shifty and stuff like that. So yeah, I think Churio, with how young he is too, like oh my gosh, can't wait to see the type of player he's going to turn into. But I feel confident with that pick as well.
Good pick, good pick. Let's see. So okay, so yeah, I'm gonna stay away from like center field and first base because you already took your pick, so I don't really need to worry about that yet. But I'm gonna go left field because I think left field is kind of more of the scarce and this there's no Tigers bias in this, but I'm gonna take Riley Green. He's 20. He'll be 24 in 30 days, which I didn't even think he was that young. But great defense, 841 OPS, 4.2 WAR this year, 19 home runs, 56 RBIs, 263 average. Kind not the best average, but um, yeah, he's another one of those guys that's just been super consistent. He's brought the power, especially for a team that lacks a lot of offensive capabilities. Yeah, he's definitely been the MVP for the Tigers so far. With Kerry Carpenter being hurt, I'd say that could probably be true. But offensive wise, Scooble's been the best. But yeah, I gotta go Riley Green.
He was up there for me. I think if Churio was gone, that would have been my pick. So I do like that one
Yeah.
a lot. Okay, so moving forward, who do I want to go here? Do I go? This is tough. There's so many places I feel like I could go with this pick. Um, I think second base position worries me a little bit with the guys. I think a lot of them haven't really proven themselves yet, but I'm gonna go with Jackson Holiday. Um, you
Ooh,
love to
okay.
see what he's been doing on the second time up. He's kind of contributed to the team, and another guy who is so young, and it's so impressive how he's doing all this when he's literally a year older than me and you. Like, kind of crazy
Yeah.
to think about. I could pull up the numbers for him and see kind of this kind of recent stretch he's been on, but got a lot of kind of backlash that first time he came up. Probably wasn't ready. I don't really think he's still ready yet either. Um, and to be honest, he still isn't even hitting that good. Last 30 games, he's got a 198 batting average. He's hit 5 home runs though. Is that right? Yes, he has hit 5 home runs in the MLB so far. OPS is still really low. This is definitely more of like a future play. You know, like I said, he's only 20
Mhm.
years
Yeah.
old, only 128 Bs, only 120 at bats in the big so far. We've seen him have some good pinch hit moments. We've seen him crush a ball at Camden too.
Hmm.
And I think I like the outlook of Jackson Holiday more than a Colt Keith or a Bryce Terang or something like that. So I think I like that pick.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I don't know. Yeah, like you said, he had some hot stretches, but the extreme like volatility between that. But that's just how it is for rookies. They ups and downs, ups and downs. But um, yeah, I'll go. Let's see. Hmm. I don't know if I want to start chipping away at the starting pitchers or not, but um, hmm. Okay, I'll go starting pitcher. I'm gonna go Grayson Rodriguez.
Mm,
He, yeah. So he's had I talk about this a lot, but I do think it's important because like some guys can be kind of fluky when they get up, but he has the prospect status. Um, Last year he had a 4.35 ERA, not the best with a 1.34 WHIP. Um, and this year he's only gotten better. However, he's still kind of like around league average to slightly above league average. He's 13-4, so his record's good. But I mean, that's what happens when you got one of the best offenses behind you. But 116 innings this year, 3.86 ERA with 130 strikeouts. While he may not be one of the best starting pitchers now, I do definitely think he has what it takes to be one of the best in the future. A taller righty, so I mean, it some of those guys, the extension they can get is like seems it's like how can anybody even hit them? So I do think he's gonna get even better every year. So yeah.
Yes, I definitely think you got a lot of good points there. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna let some bias play into my next pick here. Um, I'm gonna go towards catcher and take Logan O'Hoppe here. Um,
Hmm.
I so for those who well nobody knows, but I would keep up with the Angels at first when I got into baseball, mostly because of Shohei Ohtani. Um, but this was right around the time when Brandon Marsh got traded to the Phillies and Logan O'Hoppe got sent in return. And Logan O'Hoppe was just so much fun to watch. And he started off this year really hot. He's definitely slowed down a bit, but he's batting 246, 17 home runs with a 717 OPS. So you're hoping to see him improve in the coming years, but I do think defensively he's really good. He's got a good bat. Catching at this young of age and still hitting pretty consistently is pretty tough. So the fact that
Yeah.
he's even an average batter right now with plus power, I think is huge. I think he's going to be, a very like the Angels catcher for the future, for sure. And I love the energy he brings. I like he's another guy that I think is just an awesome piece to build around like a franchise. I'm excited to see next year, and hopefully he kind of keeps improving on what he's done this year and even last year when he got traded over. But yeah, loved Ogunati ever since he came over the Angels. Even though I watch the White Sox now, so I think I'm gonna take him
Okay. I can respect it. I do have a couple of catchers above him, but he
there.
was definitely on my board, and he's getting close to 26. He's got to be 25, right?
I think he's 24. Yeah, he's 24.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. So I think I'm gonna keep chipping away at the starting pitchers. So I'm gonna say, oh, there's so many. They're like right there. Okay. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Tanner Bybee. He needs a. I feel like he's super underrated. It's another case of this small market team with the Cleveland Guardians. But here, let me
Mm.
pull up his stats real quick. I know he had a great year last year. This year he hasn't been as good as he was last year. He's still doing good this year though. 10-6 record with a 3.46 ERA and a 2.3 WAR with a 1.1 WHIP, which is those are all good numbers. Last year he was amazing, and I don't know if this is the type of thing where they get the scouting report on these guys and then the hitters kind of adjust. But even if that's the case, he's still been decent this year. But last year, 10-4 with a 2.98 ERA and 140 innings with a 1.176 WHIP. And last year, it's not. It doesn't say it on baseball. Oh yeah, second in rookie of the year. So I think he's super exciting. He will be 26 pretty soon, but 10 strikeouts per nine. Just he really just has it all. He's got some nasty off speed pitches, and yeah.
I like it. I am also gonna go pitcher, but I need to decide where I'm gonna go here. There's so many guys I think I could go out and get. Um, I'm gonna bank on this guy hopefully staying healthy. I'm gonna go Brian Wu from Seattle. Um,
Hmm.
when this guy is healthy, one of the better pitchers in the league. This season in 87 innings, he's got a 2.05 ERA. With a what's his whip? It's uh wait, I lost it. It's hovering around point 0.8, I believe, right now. Point 0.8 whip. Yeah, 0.81 whip. I've watched this guy pitch against my White Sox. He's nasty. Obviously, he's had some difficulties staying on the field, which is frustrating. But I think he's only 24. If you can keep him healthy and get his innings worked up over the next couple seasons, Seattle's got another ace locked down for a couple years. So I think Brian Wu, as long as he stays healthy, hopefully he can stay as dominant as he has been. But yeah, I'm gonna go with him.
Like a lot. I actually, I'll be honest with you. I looked at the Mariners rotation. And I was like looking around between Kirby and Bryce Miller. I'm like, Kirby was like 27. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. So I didn't even check Wu because I just assumed that Wu was
Yeah,
27 or 20 years
he's
old. But
young.
when Wu was healthy, he was on my fantasy team and he was just nails for me. But give me 1 second. Let's see. Okay, where do I want to go? I'm gonna stick with another starting pitcher. I think I'll be able to get all the guys I want offense wise, but I'm gonna go with Brandon Pfaadt. I don't think you had him anywhere near your starting pitcher top five, but um, last year was, I'll be honest with you, was really rough. 5.7 ERA in 96 innings. This year, still like not the best. 4.3 ERA with a 1.17 WHIP and a 3.57 FIP, which is still kind of decent, but
Hmm.
he strikes out a decent amount of guys, and just watching him, I don't know. I know he's better than his numbers say, and I don't know if this is me just like kind of being captivated by like the bright lights, but last year he was amazing in the playoffs. In my opinion, he had a 3.27 ERA, which in the playoffs you're not just playing like, no offense, but the White Sox and like the Marlins, and I'll even throw the Tigers offense in there.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah, I got you.
those type of teams all the time. So 3.27 ERA in 22 innings is pretty good. And I'll throw these in there too. He had back-to-back starts last year between the Phillies and the Dodgers. So I'd say the two best offenses last year in the National League at the very least. He pitched against the Phillies, 5.2 innings, gave up 2 hits, and he had 9 strikeouts. And then he followed that up with a start against the Dodgers, a shortened start, 4.1 innings, 2 hits again, no runs. So just, I don't know. When I watched the playoffs, and I think I saw the Phillies start with the 5.2 innings, it was like, this guy's he's got to have some type of Cy Young at least candidacy in the future. So
No, I respect it. I definitely get the personal part of it. That's going to come into my next pick here. Another guy I was pretty surprised to find out was under 25, but we've talked about him earlier, Taj Bradley from Tampa Bay. Um, yeah, I'm pretty excited about landing him this late. But
mm,
dude, couldn't say enough about this guy. Love watching him. Got nasty stuff. We've seen him go on dominant stretches, so hopefully he can keep that consistency going for a full season. And yeah, Tampa Bay just seems to have a thing with developing good pitchers. So I'm excited to watch him continue out his tenure there and keep it going. I think I want to say he's a 3.6 ERA this season, something like that.
mhm.
Had some good starts here and there, and obviously that insane stretch a little while back is definitely helping that out too. But yeah, happy to pick him up. So I think we're both at four starting pitchers, and then we got a few more position players left.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna hold off on starting pitchers now for a while. I'm gonna go, since you said Jackson Merrill. I was holding this guy off because he's still one of the best players I think in the league. But I'm gonna go Corbin Carroll in center field. I was close. It was between him and Julio, and they both struggled mightily this year. But Corbin, looking at his last 30 games, you talked about this when you talked about the Diamondbacks, but 916 OPS in the last 30 games, 7 home runs, 4 triples. So the speed, he's always had the speed. The speed's insane. 260 average. So he's just been slugging recently like crazy. But looking at his stats last year he put together a phenomenal season. He finished rookie of the year by an absolute landslide. He was like 1, 2, 3 in MVP for like the first 2/3 of the season. Then he kind of slowed down at the end, but I mean, his slowing down
Hmm.
was still like any other player what they want to be. But 25 home runs, 76 RBIs, led the league in triples with 10 last year, 285 average, and an 870 OPS. So as a rookie, 22-year-old, that's that just does not happen at all. Um, and then this year he started out extremely slow. Like he was high 500 OPS for a long time, and it was
Yep.
just brutal for him. But right now his numbers are not sitting too bad. He's 15 home runs, 55 RBIs, 711 OPS with a 223 average. So obviously not where you want them to be, but especially for the contract they signed him to was 8 years, 111 million with a
Yep.
2031 team option. That's an absolute steal by the front office for the Diamondbacks. So yeah,
Yeah, I think if Corbin didn't have such a tough start to the year, it wouldn't really be a conversation as who's the number one there for center. Jackson Merrill
yeah,
being so hot, I think, is kind of what I'm going off of, but Corbin Carroll will still definitely be very solid for so many years.
yeah.
I'm going to round out my pitching, and I'm actually going to take a prospect here. I'm
Oh,
definitely going to
oh,
be a
don't
little
do
bit
it.
biased towards this
Okay, you're
also.
fine.
Yeah, don't worry. It's not going to be Job. It's not Job. I
I know
could
who it
take Job
is.
here.
I had him on my board. The guy
Yeah.
you're talking about.
It's going to be Noah Schultz,
Yeah,
the White Sox. I think he's their number one. I want to say I can double check that.
he is.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah, White Sox number one, and then he's number 15 in all of MLB. He has the best slider in all of the minor leagues. I think it's a
Mhm.
70 grade slider on the scouting report. Um, During his time in the minor leagues, he's thrown 103 innings with a 2.08 ERA and a .92 WHIP. And then in Double A alone this year, he's had 13 starts with a 1.46 ERA. Insane stuff. It's only over 50 innings. He's not going super deep into games, but when he does pitch, it is electric. Um, Diving into let's see his K numbers. He's not striking out a lot actually, but I guess that's also per nine. Um, I mean, it's just he's been fun to watch. I'll tune in to some of his starts, or you'll see just highlights and stuff from him. He's 6'9", 220, so another big lefty coming out of the White Sox
Yeah.
organization. That's kind of just a stereotype. Even with Hagen Smith, who they took this year, it's another tall lefty, so it's kind of just funny at this point. I think there's a good shot he gets brought up next year. He's 21. He's already in Double A, and he's dominating there. I think he'll at least start the year in Triple A next year, and then maybe get called up late if the White Sox have a similar season that they did this year.
Yeah.
But I think this is another future ace that whether he stays with the White Sox or not, we'll see. You hope he stays around, and this can kind of be a guy they build a rotation around with Crochet, with Hagen Smith, with Thorpe and Kai Bush and all these other guys. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to have him for the future, and can't wait to see him eventually make it up to the bigs.
Yeah. That's a great pick. Real quick question is: does he? I haven't watched him pitch. Does he have the like? He's the tall, like lanky lefty. Is his arm angle? Is it like similar to Randy Johnson? Is it just straight up and down?
That's a good question. I have a feeling it might be. Let me see though. You can get into your next guy if you want
Okay.
while I'm.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go. Let's see. All my spots are open, so I don't really have anything. I can just pick whoever now. I'm gonna go catcher, and I'll go with Yainer Diaz. Um, yeah, he's been great for the Astros ever since he came up as a rookie. But this year 780 OPS, 119 OPS plus, and you have to look at catchers' stats because catchers are always primarily like fielding. They're looked at for their fielding, so their hitting is not always the best. But 16 home runs, 72 RBIs, 297 average. So he's more of a contact hitter, but yet he's still got some of that pop. Last year he had 23 home runs, 60 RBIs for an 846 OPS. So overall has just been great, especially for the middle of that lineup. When there's been some struggles, especially at the beginning of this year, that he's been absolutely massive to have. So
All right, good pick, good pick. I like that one. Okay, I can start rounding out my team here. So I need a third baseman and a right fielder. Um, okay, at third, I'm gonna go Junior Caminero. We did touch on him a bit earlier today. Also, one of the top prospects in the league just got called up. Um, got all the tools to be a successful player here in the major leagues. It's already been fun to watch him come up with the Rays. Second time he's been up in his career. He came up for a bit last year also.
Mhm.
But yeah, not much to say. He hasn't had much time in the bigs yet. But he was cruising through the minor leagues, and he probably should have been up earlier than he was also. So I know another really young guy, another guy that just got called up, but I think it's another guy, at the hot corner. You'd love to have him on your team, so I'm gonna go with him.
Absolutely. Good. Let's see. So how many picks do you say you have left? You have two, right?
I think yeah, I have 2 picks left, so you should have three.
Okay, yeah, I do. Okay, I'm gonna go second base. This guy falls under the radar, and I really don't know why. Because he's this year he's hurt, but even last year when he was performing, he fell under the radar. I'm gonna go Matt McLean at second base.
Oh, okay.
He
Yeah,
is. Let's see how old he is. 20. Yeah, he just turned 25 not too long ago, but last year, and I might just be going off the small sample size. Maybe that's just what's getting me. But 16 home runs, 50 RBIs, 290 average with an 864 OPS, and 14 stolen bases. So he's got a little bit of speed. He ended up finishing fifth in rookie of the year. I don't know. It was just I watched him a little bit last year. Just super fun to watch. Just a little like 5'9" little guy. Um, and yeah, I think it was a case of the like Ellie's where Ellie de la Cruz took most of the hype, and they had some other
mm,
guys like Will Benson and um, just some other young guys there, Steer guys that are kind of just like taking a lot of the hype. But
yep,
McLean definitely deserves uh, more respect, I think, and I think he'll prove that once he comes up, and he'll actually get that. But yeah,
cool. I'm gonna go up to. I'll take my shortstop now. It's gonna be Gunner. Always will be. If you didn't take him, it would have been Bobby or whatever. It was gonna be one of
yeah,
those two anyway.
yeah,
Um, I have not much to say about Gunner. Gunner's really good. Obviously, another breakout season for him here, mashing the ball, such a good run producer. And then also, obviously, the guys couldn't make it on this list, but Mason Wynn, Ellie De La Cruz, would love to have him on this team also. But just from where we're at right now, I think Gunner I would have over them two right now. But just wanted to give those guys their flowers also. But yeah, I think Gunner is a no-brainer here to round out my infield.
yeah, yeah. That was kind of that's kind of why I was hesitant on taking Witt so early, but just
Yeah,
to show everybody else how good that I think Witt is, and I'm sure you guys all know anyways. But
right.
okay, I'm gonna go with the starting pitcher, and you took a White Sox, and I'm taking a Tiger. But these are two of the
Hey,
it might be
yep.
the two highest. Yeah, they're the two highest starting pitchers. So I mean, we're not really being biased here. I'm gonna take Jackson Jobe. He's the eighth overall prospect.
He's so good,
He
dude. He's so good.
Yeah, he is. He's absolutely nuts. He's a 65 grade fastball, a 70 grade slider. However, Schultz is slightly his slider is slightly better, but his Job's slider is nothing to scoff at again. But 60 grade changeup. Uh, yeah, he's been jumping around. Let me look at his minor league stats, but I think if he got pulled up right now, he would perform. But obviously, you don't want to rush the development, especially for a team that's not competing all that much. But let's see. So last year, well, okay, I'll start out. He jumped between A, high A, and double A last year. 2.2 in A, 3.6 ERA in high A last year, and then he only had one start in double A where he went 6 scoreless innings. But this year he's been even better, I'd say. He started the year out in high A with a 2 ERA and 9 innings, so he only had a couple starts there, but he's ever since he got promoted to Double A, he's been awesome. 2.08 ERA in 65 innings with a 109 WHIP, and he averages 10 strikeouts per nine. So just no matter what level he's been at, he's performed, and there is no doubt in my mind that once he gets pulled up to the majors, he's going to perform too. So
Yeah, he's been electric. Him and Schultz have both just been so dominant in their starts in the minors that it's like just a matter of time before they get up to the bigs.
yeah,
Um, okay, so I've got my last pick here. I'm between two guys, but I think I know who I'm going to take. A guy who honestly not many people probably have heard about. I know I've recently just started to hear about him. I'm going to go Alec Burleson from St. Louis.
Okay.
This year alone, he's batting 278 with a 771 OPS. He's got 21 home runs. Um, Again, not too much on the record for this guy from me, but he just looks like a consistent performer, day in, day out. He stayed healthy this whole year and most of last year, it looks like.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think with what was left in right field, I don't know. Juan Soto was obviously the number one. I was going between this guy and Lawrence Butler. I just think Burleson has got more of a consistent output so far. I think Butler's a little more flashier, but I think Burleson has proven himself to be a solid hitter in the bigs. So I'm going to rely on that and just kind of take him here, I think, with my last pick.
I like it. I like it a lot. Let's see. Okay. So now I'm just sitting at first baseman. What I need.
Yep.
Okay, I think they got it. I'm gonna go with Tristan Casas. He's
Good
24
pick.
years old. Let's see. Yeah, he's mostly just a hitter. I mean, that's how it is for most first basemen. They're not really gonna have too much of a glove, but his glove's not bad at all. But last year, 24 home runs, 65 RBIs, uh, for an 856 OPS with a 490 slug percentage. So he just mashes for power. This year he's gotten even better. However, small sample size because he's been hurt a lot this year. 8 home runs, 17 RBIs with a 279 batting average and an 890 OPS. So
Mm.
that kind of proves a little bit that there wasn't a fluke last year, and I really don't think it's a fluke at all. Yeah, I think he's got a very good future ahead of him.
All right. How do you feel about your team? That wraps it up. That's all 14, I think 14
I
guys.
think I'm feeling kind of good. Real quick, you want to just run through them like name by name?
Yeah, I'll go through my team first. So, um, at catcher, we've got for me it's Ohapi. Then moving to first, we got Vladdy. Second, I've got Jackson Holiday. Third is or short is Gunner. Third, Junior Caminero. Starting in left, I've got Churio, Merrill's tracking in center, and then Burleson out in right field. And then my rotation is Paul Skeens, Hunter Green, Noah Schultz, Taj Bradley, and Brian Wu.
Okay, I like it a lot. Let's see. Okay. So catcher, I got Yanner Diaz. First base, I got Tristan Casas. Second, I got McLean. Shortstop, Bobby Witt. Third base, Royce. So I do think I got you in the infield department, but left field, left field, I got Riley Green. Center field, I got Corbin Carroll, and then Juan Soto finishing up in right field. And then for my starters, I took Strider, Spencer Strider, Grayson Rodriguez, Tanner Bybee, Brandon Fott, and then Jackson Job.
Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is make a little lineup thing, and we'll put it on Instagram, and we'll let people comment who they think, which team they think is better. But yeah,
Awesome. Sounds good.
all right, yeah. So that's gonna wrap up our first episode, actually. Unless you got anything else more to add.
That's pretty much it for me.
All right. Well, we thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are still here this late, shout out to you. Be sure to check us out on all social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. It's all just Loose and Groovy Baseball Show. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in with us.
We'll see you later.